Have you ever wondered what is the best cooking oil? Hello, my successful and healthy earthlings. Mihaela Ragush here, naturopath and founder of the Natural Health Podcast. Today, I will share with you exactly what oil is good for cooking and what oil is good for salads to remove the confusion of oils for good. And at the end of this episode, I'm going to give you an opportunity to join our health and success-oriented community by clicking the link below and joining the newsletter. Welcome to the Natural Health Podcast. We bring awareness to sustainable health in the business hustle space. Natural Health Podcast is perfect for the high-performing, business-minded individuals who want to work with their biochemistry to achieve success and optimal health. It's Wednesday, which means it's time for What Would I Do? In today's episode of Natural Health Podcast, we discuss this week's question. All questions are kept confidential. I read them and answer them as it follows me. Hence why it is called What Would I Do? The information provided is not to be taken as advice and is solely for information purposes only. I'm not here to cure, treat, or provide medical advice. I'm here to educate you and inform you so you will take steps towards optimal health. Please discuss any medical issues or lifestyle changes with your health care professional. Let's get into today's question. I'm so excited. Today's question is, I love to cook and have been very confused on what oil I should use to cook with. What are your thoughts on sunflower, rice bran, olive oil, avocado oil, canola oil, and coconut oil? Okay, to answer this question, we need to first look at oils, okay? Let's get into and look at oils. So most people use cooking oils regularly and they use them to prepare all sorts of dishes. I mean, you probably open up your pantry and you have like olive oil, canola oil, sunflower oil, sesame oil. You have all of these different oils. And then you go to cook and you're like, which one do I use? So without taking the flavor in consideration, you go, which one should I use? Do I use this oil for salad? Do I use this oil for cooking? What's the best oil, right? So I can understand the confusion because I've been there, right? That's why I did my research on oils. There is a wide variety of cooking oils such as olive oil, palm oil, soybean oil, canola oil, rapeseed oil, corn oil, peanut oil, sesame oil, and there's even animal-based oil such as butter, lard, and so forth. So I can totally understand the confusion. It's also important to consider whether the oil is still healthy to consume after you've heated it. Right? So yes, it might be a healthy oil in its raw form, processed form, whatever you want to call it. But when you heat it up, is it still the same oil or is it rancid, right? This is because cooking oils have a range of different smoke points, or essentially it's a temperature at which they're no longer stable. When oils are unstable, that's when they're dangerous and they cause issues, right? They cause free radicals in our body. You should not use cooking oils to cook at temperatures above their smoking point. So you're probably like, well, what's the smoking point for the oils? And I'm going to get to it. Keep listening because I'm going to get into every single oil and the smoking points of them, right? When oils are actually heated, particularly at a high heat, they eventually reach their smoke point. And at this temperature, the oil is no longer stable and breaks down. When oil breaks down, it begins to oxidize and release free radicals. We are trying to stay away from these free radicals because they cause so much damage in our body. These compounds can have negative health consequences, potentially causing cellular damage and can lead to disease development. Yes, your oils used wrong can cause cellular damage. Mind-blowing, right? It's also important to consider the amount of processing a cooking oil has undergone to affect its quality. So what I'm talking about here is that oil, is it like that in its pure form, or did it have to be processed so much to become an oil? Okay, here are some questions to ask yourself, right? What oils do you currently use? What oils do you currently have in your cupboard? Once you know the oils you have in your cupboard, we can go into it more. The other question is, do you know the smoke points for each one of those oils in your cupboard? Do you use just oils for cooking, or do you also use them on a salad and so forth? Do you know the process each one of those oils has gone through to become an oil? So for example, olive oil, to become that olive oil, what's the process gone through? The sunflower oil, to become sunflower oil, what's the process it's gone through? What flavors do you like? Do you like olive oil? Do you like coconut oil? Do you like sunflower oil? What's the flavors that you actually like? Do you use oil for cooking, and what cooking do you do with it? Is it roasting? Is it frying? Is it just heating up? And the oils that you have, what containers are they in? Are they in plastic? Are they in glass bottles, right? Do you currently have a disalignment in your body, such as a disease or something where you should be really careful of what oils you're using. In addition to that, where do you keep your oils? Are they in the cupboard? Are they outside? Are they in the sun? Where are you keeping them? Think about these, because these are all very important in regards to oil usage. So what would I do? Now, what would Mihaela do after knowing all of this information? The first thing that I would do is take out all my oils, look at them, line them up, and go, okay, I've got this oil, this oil, this oil. Any one of them that are in plastic bottles, I would move away, okay? Because oils are not meant to be in plastic bottles, nor are they meant to be in aluminium. They are made to be in glass. So I would remove the ones that are in plastic. And I know this is not probably great for the environment and adding more plastic, but I would remove them as much as possible. And then if I go and buy any more oils, they need to be in glass, and dark glass, okay? So, because the sun makes them rancid. So that's the number one thing that I would do is I would remove any plastic bottles, plastic bottles, whatever it is. Doesn't matter what oil it is. If it's in plastic, it's not good for me, right? Keep it in glass, right? And in dark glass. So if I would keep glass or oil in glass that has dark glass around it, like, olive oil has got the green around it, you don't want the light going through it, right? Then I would use good quality oils. I would know, the best thing would be that you know your supplier, that you know who made that oil, right? So if you have a local olive oil maker, or someone makes oils locally, get in touch and ask him how they make it, the process. If you can visit the farm, how amazing would that be, right? And then what I would do is I would store and keep these oils in a cool, dark environment. Not hot, not underneath the oven, above the oven, next to the oven, way cool and dark, right? Ensure that if I do buy, it'll be cold pressed, low temperature, which retains the flavor and the nutrients. And I would educate myself on the smoking points. This is exactly what I want to talk about. So I'm going to give you some smoking points now. For olive oil, the smoking point is 176, around about that, depending on the olive oil, but 176 Celsius. Avocado oil is 270, roughly, right? 270 smoke point. Coconut oil is 176, similar to olive oil. Sesame oil is 210 Celsius. And this is Celsius and not Fahrenheit. Flax oil is 107, walnut oil is 160, and coconut oil is 176, which I already mentioned. So the smaller the smoking point, you don't want to cook with it. You want to use it for a salad dressing. The higher the smoking oil, it's okay to cook with, right? But remembering also, it has to be good quality oil in a glass bottle, in a dark bottle, and also has to be good quality, right? So from seeing this, the number one oil to cook with would be avocado oil with a smoke point of 270. You can use avocado oil for cooking or baking in just about any recipe, right? Because it has a high smoke point and a mild flavor. You can also drizzle it on salads and your smoothies 100%, but you don't want to cook with something like flaxseed oil. You want to not cook with something like flaxseed oil. You don't want to cook with something like walnut oil and so forth, depending on the temperatures that you're hitting, right? But something like avocado oil, 270 degrees, amazing high smoke point. What the oils that I would avoid are 3 oils. You ready for those oils? Hydrogenated fats like margarine, vegetable shortenings, and vegetable oils like corn, canola, soybean oil, and safflower oil. These are inflammatory oils that are just going to cause havoc in our bodies. Having them here and there when you don't know who's cooking, like if you go to a restaurant and things like that, may be okay. But cooking with them daily in and out and having them daily in and out is definitely causing some inflammation, some issues inside of your body, especially if they're used at above their smoke points, which causing those free radicals, causing that cellular damage and so forth. Now that you're educated on oils to cook with and oils to use as a dressing and smoke points, search. The number one tip is look at all the oils that you have and check out all their smoke points. Even put it on them, right? Put a label on all their smoke points so you remember, oh, okay, that one's good for this, that one's good for that, just in case you forget. I hope that this sheds some light to your question. Anyone listening who may have these questions about what oil do I cook with? If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me at mahela.ragoose on Instagram, and I'll be in touch with you and hopefully be able to feature your question via the Natural Health Podcast. And remember, the missing link between failure and success is your health. Consult your own medical professionals for any medical issues that you may be having. This entire disclaimer also applies to any guests or contributors to the Natural Health Podcast. It is advised that you consult your doctor or healthcare professional in relation to any health concerns you may be having. Mahela Ragoose does not take responsibility for any health consequences which occur from a person listening, viewing, or reading this content. Under no circumstances shall the Natural Health Podcast, Mahela Ragoose, any guests or contributors to the Natural Health Podcast, or any employees, associates, or affiliates of Mahela Ragoose be responsible for damages arising from the information provided on the Natural Health Podcast. By listening to this podcast, you agree not to use this podcast as medical advice to treat any medical conditions in either yourself or others. Please note, if you're taking prescription, do not stop your medication or start a new protocol, including but not limited to supplements, diet, lifestyle changes without consulting a doctor or healthcare professional. If you or any person has a medical concern, you should consult with your healthcare provider or seek other professional medical advice. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something that you have read or heard on the Natural Health Podcast or in any linked materials. If you think you may have a medical emergency, call your doctor or emergency services immediately. Neither Mahela Ragoose nor the publisher of this content takes responsibility for the possible health consequences of any person or persons reading or listening or following the information in the educational content.